Hey, what's up, everyone? And well, hope you're all having or already had a good summer. Whatever. I had a pretty good summer. Can't complain. Some really good movies, and I know I haven't done any movie reviews in a while, so what the hell? Why don't I just break it open with not one, not two, not three, but for the first time, four movies in one review? Yeah, that's right. Summer of 2024 Movie Madness. And this isn't every movie that I saw. I am probably going to save one or two of them for Halloween Horror Fest. And I know technically it starts for most people at the end of June. And two of these movies are before that, sort of. So let's get started. First one is one that I anticipated for this year. In fact, most of them are. And that is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the fourth one in the Planet of the Apes reboot franchise. And after War for the Planet of the Apes, I didn't really know where this series was going to go. It was a great conclusion, at least I thought it was a conclusion, and especially since, spoiler alert, Caesar dies at the end. And he was basically the main character of this franchise that started it all for the, Planet of the Apes, taking over Earth. And, well, I didn't think they were going to be able to do anything else from there. But, lo and behold, they started it up again with the fourth movie, this one. And it got mostly positive reactions, and I agree. While some people may not have liked it as much as the first three, and I'm not going to lie. Okay, first off, spoiler alert for most of these movies. Not anything major, but there's going to be some. And for this one, it starts out a little slow. You got a little build-up, most characters, and a little bit of dialogue, and I understand they're trying to lay the ground in this movie, and yes, it does go over 2 hours, so I didn't really know what they were going to be able to do from there. But thankfully, after about 20 or 30 minutes, if you can hold still for that long, it gets really good, They're trying to make peace and coexist with, humans they think there's not many left, and, another army of apes basically almost kills them and tries to take them into enslavement, where they're trying to open a big vault. So that's the big part of the story right there, to put it simply. And so basically, they're trying to go on an adventure, and they come across humans, which, like I said, they didn't think there's that many left. And our main human female character, she doesn't talk much at first, but eventually she starts to open up. And her performance is good. Our main ape character is Noah, who's basically the new Caesar. He's trying to basically pick up what he had, trying to make peace with the humans and everything like that, not trying to start war, but he's also trying to take on the army of the bad apes, in other words. And like I said, they're trying to get that big vault open because it contains contents that could really change the face of the earth for the apes that are trying to basically take over. And the human characters basically get enslaved too as well. Almost a little reminiscent of the original Planet of the Apes movie. That one scene in particular where they're capturing them. You remember in the original one where they're capturing them in the nets? So I like that touch right there. And yeah, the performances are really good. The CG effects are good. And overall, yeah, I'd say it was very entertaining. I'm not going to give away how it ends, but it might be a little bit of a surprise to you to see it definitely take that step. And it's obviously hinting another sequel, and supposedly this is going to start up a new franchise, which I have no problem against. I mean, it's great to see a series continue, as long as it doesn't get run into the ground too heavily, but I could safely say I was thoroughly entertained. No complaints here with this entry. You may like it or you may not. Like I said, a little slow at the start, but it's enjoyable enough, and I was thoroughly entertained. Definitely was enough to give me a little pounding on the chest and go ape for this one. So, my final verdict is a rockin' Weird Mode Wii Motion Plus up and a plain Weird Mode up. It's good, plain, monkeying kind of fun. So, the next one is Inside Out 2. Yes, that's right. A sequel to the Oscar-winning Best Animated Movie of 2015, and probably one of Disney and Pixar's best, unexpectedly. I mean, you already can see my list of 2015 of what I think the best movies are of that year, and you'll know that this one is great. I even did a review on it back then. And how do you make a sequel to that? Well, leave it to Disney and Pixar, because Of course, we all know after a pretty rotten year or two that they had at the box office, I mean, every studio goes through a bad phase, and Disney is no exception to last year especially. And, well, we weren't sure if this was either going to make or break Disney, and thankfully, it made it. It not only brought Disney right back on top, but it was also one of the highest grossing movies so far of 2024. Yes, it even broke Super Mario Brothers movie record of last year. It broke Frozen's record. I mean, this movie is just a monster hit of this year. So I guess you could say Disney came back with a vengeance with this one. And is it really that great? Well, you bet your ass it is. This is probably one of the best Disney Pixar sequels since the Toy Story sequels. I'm not kidding. Now, we all know our main character, Riley, as well as, of course, our main characters, the emotions, which we go and attach to throughout the movie. I mean, that's what the film focuses on and is all about, and it does a great job with that. And this one definitely takes the necessary steps in maturing this character as well as the film's plot. What's great about this film is it doesn't have to do too much to really catch you up with, because she's older, and it does that right at the beginning, and it's just fine. It's short, but it's sweet and to the point. And basically, well, she has new emotions that come into the picture and try to bottle up the current ones, which it was a gamble out of Disney to do such a thing, but it does it right, and it really focuses on what people at teenage years go through. Our newest character is, of course, Anxiety, and she's voiced by, of course, Stranger Things actress Maya Hawke, and perfect casting choice right there. You can't argue with that. And there's several other new emotions in the picture, but Anxiety is the one who steals the show and tries to basically make a new Riley because, like I said, she's going through her teenage years. She's joining in the new hockey camp, and she obviously has friends and all that kind of stuff. It perfectly shows what people go through with a lot of pressure, and with anxiety in the mix, it couldn't fit any more perfectly than that. I mean, with the panic attack and everything like that, and how she tries to be more than she can be when she says and thinks that she's not good enough, and has to choose between that and her main two friends that are, well, not going to be with her anymore when she goes into high school and everything like that. And I do like the ending, not to really spoil anything. I like how it really leaves you wondering how it would actually end. Doesn't give you a clear description of it. It just leaves you thinking, like, yeah, how could it end? And maybe it doesn't have to give you a straight answer. And yeah, Disney really takes a chance right there with that one. There is a scene during the middle of the credits that you probably see, in the TV spot trailers. And yes, there's even a scene after the credits. I do like right before the end credits scene, it shows that, like, this movie is dedicated to our kids because we love you just the way you are. Couldn't have said it any better because it's very relatable for real life people like us. We've gone through this, or we're about to go through this as kids, and Disney really just nails it right here. It's a great emotional and funny occasionally. It's just so done well. Like I said, it takes the necessary steps, and it is a fantastic sequel, probably the best one since Toy Story 2 and 3. Can't say it anymore there, and I'm actually hoping for a third film. But who knows if it'll take 9 years like it did with this one. But otherwise, I can't say much more there. This is a great sequel, and just another reason Disney and Pixar is at their game again, and a great comeback for Disney especially. Like I said, after the rather rotten year that they had at the box office. I mean, trust me, this one was worth the admission ticket and shows that Disney can definitely make a big comeback. So, my final verdict is, a rockin' 2-year Wii Motion Plus is up. Might I say, this is the best animated movie of the year. So, anyway, next movie, Twisters. That's right, I sort of anticipated this one, and while I definitely enjoyed the first one, I remember seeing it in theaters back in 1996 when I was 8 years old, and I definitely enjoyed it for what it was. Not a masterpiece movie, it's good cheesy fun. The characters make it work, Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and so on. Rest in peace, of course, Bill Paxton and Philip Seymour Hoffman, unfortunately. And, well, I didn't really think this was going to be a worthy sequel, and in case you're wondering, it's a standalone one. And even with that, I didn't even think it looked that great to begin with. I mean, all these new actors, I thought this one was going to really blow. Yeah, pun intended right there. But thankfully, after all the positive reactions that it mostly got, I went to see it, and yeah, it was pretty damn good. I was actually surprised. I highly recommend if you're going to go see this one, to see it in IMAX or even Dolby, which I did, if you can still manage to. I know it's probably not with some of the newer films that go into that theater because, you know, with the IMAX and Dolby, they come and go when other movies come and take the place of that. But I managed to, and I can safely say, yeah, I was blown away for the most part. Again, pun intended right there. And, well, it seems like a bit of a formulaic and cliche type of disaster tornado movie with a lot of CG, and we've sort of seen this before with, of course, not only Twister, but of course Into the Storm, which was a big cheeseball movie. I thought it was going to fall on that level, but it was definitely better than that. But like I said, it's a standalone sequel that doesn't really seem to have any connections or continuity with the first one. It's more or less its own thing, which you may compare it to something like Home Alone 3, but no, let's not even go in that direction. It's basically about storm chasers in the Midwest states trying to get readings of tornadoes, so it may seem a bit like a rehashing of the first one with all new characters who actually aren't connected to the original ones. Even our main character, played by Daisy Edgar Jones, she is not related to Helen Hunt's character or any of the characters from the first movie. Like I said, none of them are. You also have our other main character played by Anthony Ramos, who, yes, you probably remember seeing in The Heights and Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and their chemistry is pretty believable in this movie. You know, they were, I think, boyfriend and girlfriend until, well, like I said, spoiler alert, the first couple of minutes features most of our main characters, most notably Sabrina actress Kiernan Shipka, but should I say they're only in here for like the first 5 or 10 minutes, and then after that you don't even see them again. The Twisters is where it's all at. Our other main characters that you see later on in the movie that if you saw the trailer you know are in here, and the most notable is Glenn Powell as the so-called Tornado Wrangler. And I know, it seems a bit ridiculous and far-fetched that he's this big shot that goes into the tornadoes and does all this crazy shit and everything like that. And I was a bit hesitant on seeing it mainly because of how ridiculous it looked. But if you can get past that, it's a real shut your brain off and enjoy type of movie. Basically, our main lead female character herself leaves the Midwest and goes to New York after a little incident that happens with a big tornado and with her friends and everything like that. And she reluctantly returns to place equipment and measure tornadoes. So, again, it may seem like it's a bit of a rehashing of the first movie, but it definitely does take off from there and does try new things as well. It definitely explores with the whole, some people are doing this for the money, and how there's other asshole characters that are basically using this as an opportunity to make money when people lost their homes. You got a lot of that sentimental type of scenes showing people that live in these areas when tornadoes strike, and it can be pretty heartbreaking to see. It shows our main character, and it develops her pretty well. It shows her mother, and it shows what she did when she was a kid. And there may be some slow parts here and there, but I like the dialogue, especially the chemistry between her and Glenn Powell's character. It's definitely there. The Twister scenes, like I said before, are action-packed, and because, like I said, I saw this in Dolby, the sound quality and everything really made it worth it. I mean, you really feel like you're in a tornado. And also, I miss the Twister ride at Universal. Do you think maybe it would be great to maybe make a new one? I mean, I think we can all agree we miss this and rather have this than a Jimmy Fallon 3D simulator attraction. Because it's also made by not only Warner Brothers, but also Universal Studios as well. Not a bad idea to maybe bring it back. Kind of like how they brought Kong back in Islands of Adventure, which I know it's not as good as the original, but okay, now I'm getting off track here. Bottom line is, this is a really enjoyable movie, and if you can get over the fact that it doesn't have any connections continuity-wise to the first film, And if you can get over all the rather cheesy and far-fetched and slow moments, not that the first movie never had any, I mean, there was some pretty far-fetched stuff in that film, you'll actually have a pretty good time with this one. Like I said, definitely worth seeing in a big theater with the big surround sound like in Dolby or IMAX, or at this rate, just rent it on demand and put it on a big surround sound in your home. You'll definitely get a real full awesome experience out of that for sure. The special effects and sound are cool. The characters are surprisingly likable. For a standalone sequel, sometimes this kind of thing can actually work. And in this case, it surprisingly does. So, my final verdict is a rockin' Wii Wii Motion Plus up and a plain Wii Remote up. So, last but not least, Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, the third in the Deadpool franchise. And you know me, I enjoyed the hell out of the first one. I thought it was awesome. I enjoyed the hell out of the second one, which was a nice continuation. And this one is, well, another continuation. For those of you who haven't seen any of these movies and are going into this one, watch the first two before seeing this. Because you're not going to really understand the concept and everything like that. Because like those two, it is, again, a fourth wall humor type of movie that's self-aware, has Ryan Reynolds playing yours truly, talking at the camera and everything like that, making all sorts of jokes. And also, parents, be aware, this is not for kids. Like the first two, it is R-rated, has a ton load of swearing, F-bombs, and blood, of course. It's not Deadpool unless it gets that R rating. Now, what's the plot exactly about? Well, as the plot suggests, he's trying to team up with Wolverine. And, well, the film starts out with him, like I said, should I even say it? Spoiler alert. He's trying to bring back Wolverine following the events of Logan. And you probably know how that all ends. With Wolverine dying. It makes references to just about any movie. This is a definite Easter egg movie right here. And, well, because this is, of course, the first one made by Disney, unless you count Deadpool 2, that was kind of on the eve of Disney's buyout of Fox. But this one actually is connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You have Happy Hogan from the MCU films making an appearance, and he's talking to him about joining the Avengers. You got him freaking digging up Wolverine's carcass, and that intro is just awesome with the NSYNC song, even though I'm not really a fan of NSYNC, but you have to admit that's a pretty badass intro. And of course, might I recommend watching plenty of other MCU films and series. Most notably, I recommend watching the Loki series, which I had a hard time getting into, but of course it involves with the whole time authorities, because that's what it's about, and it picks up, of course, with the second Deadpool movie with him with the time travel thing. Most of the main characters that you remember from the previous two movies are back, even though it's mostly for just a brief cameo at the beginning of the movie and at the end. But yes, you have his girlfriend Vanessa, the blind lady he was living with, the cab driver, the bearded guy from the bar, and even that guy he tried to help save during the mid-credits scene of Deadpool 2. But most notably, and disappointingly, T.J. Miller does not return for this one, and it's supposedly because of an ongoing dispute that him and Ryan Reynolds had during the filming of the second Deadpool movie, which kinda sucks. But hey, it wouldn't be called Deadpool and Wolverine without, most importantly, Wolverine, played by yours truly. He's a past version of Wolverine, and, well, of course, they don't get along too well at first. It goes through time to get the right one that's alive, and, well, they end up basically in a weird version of the Earth, and they're trying to save the Earth, and it involves time and everything like that. So yeah, it's kind of tough to explain. This is one of those movies that you have to sit through to really understand. You have other characters that make appearances and cameos throughout the movie. You got some of the X-Men characters. You got plenty of little nods and Easter eggs, like I said, mainly to MCU films. When they go into that wasteland world, which is mainly the world that they spend most of the time in. You got that mockery to 20th Century Fox, which got plenty of laughs from everybody in the theater. You got the giant Ant-Man thing. You got Thor's helmet that you probably noticed. You got the Avengers Flying Fortress. You got plenty of good fight scenes which are funny as ever. Most notably, the funniest one in my opinion was the one where they're fighting each other in that vehicle that plays the Grease song. Yeah, the music selection in this is pretty damn good, and it definitely adds to the humor in it as well. And the cameo characters that you definitely will be excited to see, like I said, spoiler alert, you got Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. You got Gambit, played surprisingly by Channing Tatum, who was supposed to be rumored to play him in one of the past entries in the X-Men movies, but unfortunately never happened. You got Blade, played by Wesley Snipes, and even Daphne Keane returning from Logan, playing an older version of Wolverine's daughter. Hell, you even got freaking Chris Evans, who, much to our surprise, you think he's going to be Captain America, but no, he's actually the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. That's right, his version of Human Torch. I mean, this movie is just crazy, exploding with all sorts of Easter eggs and crossovers and everything like that. I mean, it just never ends. You got one scene with all the different Deadpools that try to stop him and gang up on him. And with the help of Wolverine, they take them all out in a big bloody battle, but like Deadpool himself, they have instant healing powers. Hell, he even got a dog Deadpool, who he calls Dogpool, and he belongs to none other than Nicepool, who is basically a version of Deadpool played by Ryan Reynolds with long hair and doesn't wear a mask. Only difference is he doesn't have the instant healing powers. It just definitely shows the consequence of different time travel. You got the Easter egg to Doctor Strange with the whole portal thing. You got Juggernaut. You got Sabretooth. So, yeah, the plot is all about time and screwing up and everything like that, trying to save the universe, or I should say multiverse, in other words. Yep, it's another one of those people. But trust me, it's not too complicated to understand if you're into Marvel comics in general. So, yeah. This is definitely the first time we've seen X-Men cross over with the MCU. And it's not going to stop there since Disney's buyout. And yes, like any other Marvel movie, especially an MCU film, there is not only stuff during the credits, but there is also a scene after the credits, which you might want to stick around for. And for a 2-hour plus runtime, I was thoroughly entertained by this one. Yeah. There's a lot of F-bombs, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of blood, and it's what I come to expect out of this type of movie. And all I can say is, sometimes Deadpool does need a partner. And Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds definitely have the chemistry in this movie, despite a bit of a rough and tough friendship that, you know it's coming. Hell, I was even great to see Wolverine as the classic Wolverine, you know, with that face covering over him. I mean, that's anything that any Marvel comic, especially an X-Men fan, would want to see in this movie. And it definitely pays off. It was worth the admission, and all I could say is, Disney, you've done it again with Marvel. I was a little worried that Disney would ruin this, but thankfully they didn't. So, my final verdict is, a rockin' Weird Mode Wii Motion Plus up, and a plain Weird Mode up. Trust me, for MCU and Marvel fans and X-Men fans, it's definitely something you do not want to miss out on. So, that about wraps it up for my summer movies of 2024. As I said, hope you're all having a good summer or had a good summer of 2024. Till next time, keep watching.